Today let's make this beautiful bracelet using size 11 seed beads along with 2 sizes of round crystals. The unique shape of each little section will make this bracelet stand out from the other ones that you've made before. I'm Sherry here at the Little Beading Closet, and I make full tutorials on how to replicate these patterns. This bracelet is pretty easy to make, but I include all the steps so even beginning beaders can replicate it and have a bracelet at the end. The supplies that you need to make this bracelet are going to be size 11 seed beads, 4mm round and 6mm round crystals. To make a bracelet that is around 7 inches long, you'll be using 10 of the 6mm crystals and 10 of the 4mm. Along with a clasp of your choice. I really like these lobster claw clasps that also swivel here on the end, along with a ring. And I'll be using one of my favorite size 12 beading needles, along with a crystal fire line and an 8-pound. If you're an avid beader, you might not need to follow along quite as closely, but I don't want to leave anybody out. So let's take a close look at how we make it. Now let's get started. Start by putting on as much thread as you're comfortable with on your needle. You will begin by attaching the clasp first, picking up 1 seed bead, your clasp, and 2 more of the seed beads. This is going to form a right angle weave. So bring that down near the end of your thread. You don't need a tail, just a little bit left to hang on to. And needle back through the seed beads and clasp. And now we can retrace this a few times just to get it nice and tight around the clasp. I would suggest coming through all your beads and clasp at least 3 or 4 times. As you continue going through this a few times, you can always pull on the tail to tighten it up. When you start to notice that the beads and clasp are holding the right angle weave shape, I like to knot the tail onto the working thread. And I'll do that 2 times. And continuing around until you are exiting the seed bead here, directly across from the clasp. I'm also going to trim off the tail. With 1 seed bead, needle back through this one that you're exiting. Retrace it 1 time, coming back through this one that you just added, coming around and stepping through here. Now you'll need 1 6mm, 1 4mm, and 1 more size 11 seed bead. And I'm going to bring those up here next to the clasp. Skipping the one on the end and needling back through the 2 crystals. And pull all of this up next to the seed bead. You may need to hang on to the little seed bead on the end. Pull the crystals up next to it and get the slack out of your line. You can see which side the thread is coming out of the seed bead. Needle through the other side of the seed bead and pull it tight. And next we'll pick up 10 seed beads. 3, 5, 10 seed beads on your needle, come through the one down here at the end of the 4mm crystal. Again, 10 more seed beads. and needle through the size 11 at the top of the 6mm crystal. And then what I'm going to do is retrace around all the seed beads that we just added. This is going to help secure the outside of the little bezel for the crystals. Give it a little bit more strength and help it keep its final shape. So we'll come all the way around through all the seed beads. Until we're back up at the top. So just keep going, continuing around until you come through the middle seed bead that is attached to the crystals. And then needle through 2 more seed beads, picking up 1 more. You'll be coming down 7 more seed beads, or another way you can look at it, or down here at the bottom, you'll have 3 beads, 1 connected to your crystals and 1 on either side of it. And then pull this into the corner. Again, picking up 1 seed bead, needling through the next 3, and pulling it into the corner. 1 more seed bead. Coming up 7. And 1 more seed bead. We'll go through the top, coming down and back here. But you can see the top has a slight curve to it and our needle is straight. So you may need to go through just a few at a time. And when I do that, I'm not going to pull tight yet. I'm going to continue through that whole row before I pull my thread tight. So needling through the last bead of that row and then pulling my corner into place. I'll come through this corner without much tension. I'm not going to pull this super tight. It's already been put into place. And then needle down the side. Sometimes I'll push my needle down into the mat to kind of get it started. Just stepping through the corner. And then 2 more seed beads until you're exiting just underneath the 4mm crystal. You've completed the first section, and now it's just a matter of learning how to attach the second one and repeating that for the length of the bracelet. Picking up 1 size 11 seed bead and needle through the one that your thread is exiting. Pulling it up here along the end, and then needle back through it. Pick up your 6mm, 4mm, and seed bead. And bring those up next to your work, skipping the seed bead on the end, needle back through the crystals, and pull the seed bead up here on the end, coming back through the 11 here at the top, again with 10 seed beads, coming through the one here at the end, ten more seed beads, and come back through the one here at the top of the crystal, just like last time. Retrace all the seed beads along the outer edge of the crystal, coming around all of them. down here by the 4mm, up the other side, and exit the one that is attached to the crystal, and then needle through 2 more seed beads. Picking up one size 11, we'll make our first corner again, repeating that here. And pulling it into place. One more seed bead, coming through the 3 here at the bottom of the 4mm. And repeating it on this side, putting 1 seed bead here in this corner, coming up, and then 1 more, and back through the top. Like I said, you may be able to go through a few beads at a time. Before I pull it tightly into my corner, I'm going to continue through this last one, and then pull it into place. Needling down here, stepping through this one without too much tension, needling down the side, sometimes pushing my needle on the bead mat to get it started, coming through this corner, and 2 more seed beads until you're exiting the one. That's also the one that the crystal is attached to. You just want to continue working on the length of your bracelet until you're satisfied, and then you'll be attaching your ring down here. So let's go ahead and finish that part up. And now we're ready to attach the ring down here at the very end by picking up 1 seed bead and needling back through this middle seed bead attached to the crystal, just like we've been doing, and retrace it, coming back through it 1 more time, making sure it's secure for the clasp, and then step into the seed bead that you just added. You'll pick up your seed bead, your ring, and 1 more seed bead, and needle back through the seed bead here on the end. And you want to get your ring to sit here in the middle, and then retrace this a few times, coming back through each bead. Repeat that 2 or 3 times. And to finish off your thread, needle back through the center seed bead above your crystal. And then I'm going to needle through both my crystals. And then I'm going to put 1/2 hitch knot underneath my crystal, so I need to wrap my thread around this crystal, coming around both sides of it, and through this little loop that is formed, and pulling it tight. And then I'll trim off my thread. Alrighty, we did it. What's your biggest distraction while you bead? Does it have 4 legs?